The first time Eleanor Harper noticed the strange shimmer along the riverbank, she thought it was simply her aging eyes playing tricks on her. At 72, she had grown accustomed to the small betrayals of her body. The ache in her knees, the soft hum in her ears at night, the way her vision sometimes blurred when the sun dipped too low. Yet the shimmer was not the blur of failing eyes. It moved with a rhythm, like the pulse of something alive, and when she leaned closer, it whispered her name. Eleanor. The sound was not frightening. It was tender, as though carried by the same breeze that once rustled through her childhood home's porch on summer nights. She tightened her scarf and took another step. Her late husband Henry used to tease her about her endless curiosity, how she could not walk past a closed door without wondering what lay behind it. Tonight, curiosity was the only reason she hadn't already turned back toward the quiet cabin where the fire waited. The river before her looked ordinary, a stretch of water moving through a forest she had walked since girlhood. But the shimmer bent its surface, as if time itself were folding. She reached out. Her hand should have met only cold air, yet it dipped into something softer, thicker, humming with warmth. The world tilted. And then silence. When Eleanor opened her eyes, she was standing not by the riverbank, but on a cobbled street lit by lanterns. The air smelled of horse leather and coal smoke. Bells tolled in the distance. Her heart raced, and her breath clouded in the chill. She touched her face, still old, still wrinkled, not a dream. A young boy dashed past her, clutching a newspaper. "Extra, extra, read all about it," he shouted, and she caught the date printed in bold, May 12th, 1910. Eleanor's breath caught. Her grandmother had spoken of this exact day, the day a great fire swept through the town market. Eleanor had grown up hearing stories of it, how lives had been forever changed. She should have panicked, but instead, a strange calm fell over her. She was not merely an observer in some museum of memory. She had been brought here for a reason. That night, Eleanor found herself drawn into the market square, where the fire began. She saw faces she had only ever seen in sepia photographs. Her grandmother as a girl, laughing, holding her sister's hand. Tears filled Eleanor's eyes. She wanted to rush forward, to call out, but the shimmer pulsed again, reminding her, some things are not meant to be touched. The fire came. She felt the heat, saw the chaos, but also saw something no family story had ever told. Her great-grandfather, risking his life to save strangers, pulling people from the smoke. History had not remembered him as a hero, only as a poor man who lost his shop. Yet here he was, blazing with courage. Eleanor wept. When the shimmer pulled her back, she was once again on the riverbank. She staggered, clutching her chest, but the river whispered again, "Eleanor, there is more." So began her journey. Each night, when the moon was high, Eleanor returned to the river. Each shimmer was a door, and each door led her to a moment, sometimes from her family's past, sometimes from humanity's greater story. She walked through London during the blackout of 1940, saw mothers soothe their children in shelters while bombs rained above. She stood in the crowd the day Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of dreams, tears mingling with strangers. She touched the wooden beams of a ship where immigrants huddled, their eyes brimming with fear and hope. But it was not only history she witnessed. The river sometimes showed her pieces of her own life she thought she had lost forever. She saw Henry again, young and strong, waiting at the train station the day he proposed. She saw her children as babies, reaching tiny hands toward her. She saw her own mother's face, smiling softly as she sang Eleanor to sleep. Each vision was a gift, yet each one carried the same lesson. Every joy and sorrow, every triumph and mistake was a thread in the tapestry of time. To pull one out would unravel them all. And then came the night the shimmer grew darker. The river whispered not her name, but a A storm brewed overhead, lightning clawing at the sky. The shimmer opened wider than ever, trembling as though it might collapse. Eleanor stepped through and found herself in a future she did not recognize. The world was grey. Towers of glass lay in ruins. Streets were silent, except for the wind. A single message blinked on a shattered screen. Chrono disruption event detected. She wandered, heart pounding, until she saw them. Figures made of fractured light, faceless, flickering, like broken memories trying to hold shape. They reached for her, but not with malice, with desperation. One figure, taller than the rest, leaned close. Its voice was like wind through old trees. "You carry the key. You must choose." In its hand appeared the river's shimmer, now a sphere of light trembling in its grasp. Eleanor took it, though it burned her palm, and then she saw visions of futures branching out like rivers. In some, humanity thrived, families laughing, children growing old. In others, darkness consumed everything. The difference between them hinged on a single truth: whether she tried to change her past, her breath caught. The river was offering her the one thing she had secretly longed for each night she returned. To go back, not just to witness, but to alter. She could save Henry, who had died too young. She could prevent the car accident that had taken her son. She could rewrite her grief. The temptation was unbearable. Her hands shook. She thought of her son's smile, of Henry's laugh. She thought of all the nights she had prayed for just one more day with them. But then she heard another voice, her own, from years ago. She had told her granddaughter, "Every life is made of both sunshine and storms. We don't get to choose only the sunshine, or we wouldn't be who we are." Her tears fell hot and heavy. Eleanor pressed the sphere of light to her chest and whispered, "I will not change it, I will carry it." The fractured figures around her shivered, then began to glow brighter, their edges softening until they rose like sparks into the sky. The ruined city dissolved, replaced by the gentle rush of the river. Eleanor collapsed onto the riverbank, the sphere gone, only her heartbeat remaining. But the air was lighter, cleaner, as though the world itself had exhaled. The river shimmered one last time, and she knew she had mended the fracture not by rewriting pain, but by honoring it. The years that followed were quiet. Eleanor told no one of the river. She lived simply, filling her days with laughter where she could, silence where she must. And when she passed, her family gathered not to weep for what was lost, but to celebrate what had been preserved, a life lived fully, with courage to face both joy and sorrow. Her granddaughter, many years later, would sit by the same river and swear she saw a shimmer across the water, as if someone were watching, whispering still. And so the story endures. Time is not ours to master, only to honor. Memory is not a prison, but a bridge. And love, once given, is never lost. The river flows on.